Good afternoon, Paul. It's Friday, the 21st of April. Here's the heads up brief for today. For the Southeast Asia production, we covered 14 issues. In North Asia, we covered 4. And for Australasia and the Pacific Islands, we covered 8. In South Asia, we covered 14 issues, plus the major issues in Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Okay, excellent. Uday, go ahead.
So in Papua New Guinea, businesses and markets have been shut in Biala in West New Britain following clashes between settlers from different communities living in different camps in the last few days. The West New Britain Islands commander said that the situation was calm now, but the governor of the province said that more armed police are needed.
Okay, just reach out to the UN agencies that are clients and using the WhatsApp groups we have with them and just verify if either of them have an impact from that. Thank you.
Great, will do. In Indonesia, this is just coming in, but it seems that the leader of the Indonesian Democratic Party of Struggle, Megawati Soekarno Putri, will nominate Central Java Governor Ganjar Pranowo as the party's presidential candidate in the 2024 elections. It's not confirmed yet, but Megawati has summoned him today, and she said she'll make an announcement.
Okay, that's really interesting that she has actually moved beyond getting her most unpopular daughter and seeing reality of, do you want to try and win an election or do you want to play nepotism for controlling power? But you can't control power by using somebody that simply doesn't have any leadership or any credibility. Thanks for the heads up. Once it becomes formal too, let's get an advisory out.
Yeah, sure. Also, regarding Indonesia and Malaysia, authorities have increased security across both countries for Eid and the homecoming over the next few days.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. In Thailand, 8 police officers were injured in a bomb attack in Saiburi in Patani. This comes after authorities have increased security in the Deep South over concerns that there could be increased attacks during the Ramadan period, especially in the tourist areas of Songkhla.
Okay, thank you.
In South Asia, the Pakistani Supreme Court yesterday directed the government and opposition to hold talks. The government parties did not agree and have pushed the meeting to April 26th. The Supreme Court also said that the May 14th Punjab Assembly elections cannot be delayed. The government at this point is not releasing funds to the Election Commission to hold the elections.
Okay, thank you.
In India, the Communist Party of India, the banned CPIM Maoist faction called for a shutdown strike in Bihar and Jharkhand today. This strike might be observed in some parts of Jharkhand and Bihar and some more rural areas, but there's not likely to be much violence or clashes.
All right, thanks.
So in Europe, there's a few things related to the Russo-Ukrainian war. So NATO's secretary said that Ukraine's future is in the security alliance, and he met Ukrainian President Zelensky. Zelensky has called on NATO to continue supplying arms to Ukraine and fast tracks its membership. In response to this, Germany's defense minister said that it was too early to discuss Ukraine's membership and that this had to be considered carefully before we go ahead with it. And according to sources, G7 countries are also discussing an outright ban on most exports to Russia. Russia, in response, has said that if Ukraine joins NATO, that's more of an existential threat to it.
Yes, it appears NATO is acting with incredible impunity. They've shown no interest in the welfare and safety of Ukraine. Their jostling has taken Ukraine down a path that's irreversible. The destruction to the culture and the deaths of many people, injuries, mayhem in a large chunk of Ukraine is testimony to how effective NATO is at looking after your peace and security. And I guess Germans' nervousness comes from obviously Europe and NATO and America are large chunks of it are wanting to go to war, and if they make Ukraine a part of NATO, then I think NATO is technically obliged to go to war. So it sure is a greater existential threat. I mean, it was going back to as far as 2014 that Merkel was trying to explain to both NATO and the European Union and the Americans that if you keep going down the path of having countries on Russia's border joined and they're going to invade, that's how it's going to end up. But unfortunately, Merkel, and at that time, the head of France also made the same point. They were basically bullied into submission. So it does not go well for energy prices for Europe, but it does go well for capital flows back to America. Thanks, Uday.
Right, Paul. Anything else from you? That's the brief for today.
Brilliant brief. Just hang around, will you? A couple of things I want to chat about.
Yeah.